What's up, guys? I'm gonna have to say this. I had to fish for these raids. Um, I did say I was gonna do like a couple of normal raid um, videos, and before going into whatever the next legendary is, which should be which should rotate in today at 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But I'll be honest, it took a while to find the clips here. I haven't done a lot of normal raids recently. So these are over the course of the last few weeks. Running from, I think, the end of when Kyogre was around to about 2 weeks ago. I still have like 2 or 3 normal raid clips left, like normal raids that I've done that I recorded left. But yeah, it's really weird. Normally, like, if you look at like my raid badges, I've done way more normal raids than legendary raids, but for the last couple of weeks, I just haven't done any. So here's the normal raids I've done, and this is me explaining, you know, why they may seem like they're out of chronological order. If you're looking at them, it's because I did put them all in chronological order, but they're spaced several days apart. And yeah, and that's why like my buddy is different and why everything looks different. Like sometimes you'll see the same Pokemon in my parties in different clips, but they'll be different strengths, and that's why. But yeah, you know what? Talking about the next raid bosses, the general assumption is the next normal tier 5 raid boss will either be Regirock or Registeel. And Regirock is I have no feelings towards Regirock, and Registeel is I'm already pitying Registeel just because its max CP is like 2297. I don't remember its exact perfect CP like coming out of the raid. I think it's 1292. Could be 1299. It's not even 1300 CP, which is really sad. But it's because of their defensive stats, and for Registeel, I think he's just mostly defense. He's almost as defensively oriented as Shuckle, which yeah, they're just really bad. But if you were using a Machamp team for Regice, you've already got a good counter team for Regirock and Registeel. For Regirock, in addition to the Machamps, Mudshot, Solar Beam, Groudon, Mudshot, Earthquake, Groudon, in that order. Solar Beam, Groudon is actually better versus Regirock for some reason. Waterfall, Hydro Pump, Kyogre, Gyarados less so because it's actually weak to a rock. Vaporeon, Double Water, Hydro Pump preferred. Grass types, Venusaur, Exeggutor, Sceptile. So those Pokemon will do very well versus Regirock. Also weak to Steel, so Metagross with Bullet Punch, Flash Cannon, Scissor with Bullet Punch and Iron Head will also do very well here. If we get Registeel, then Machamp, as usual, and any budget options for fighting types that you have, although really, in lieu of Machamp, there are like 3 other options. Breloom, who also would work well versus Regirock, by the way, being fighting and grass, so both of Breloom's stab sets work versus Regirock. But Breloom with Counter Dynamic Punch versus Registeel, Counter Focus Blast, Blaziken, and what's the other fighting type? Did I mention Hariyama? If not, then Hariyama. So the 4 fighting types would be Machamp, Hariyama, Blaziken, and Breloom. And then versus Registeel, also fire types. So Blaziken actually works well here with both of his stabs versus Registeel. Fire Spin Overheat. Entei with Fire Spin Overheat. Moltres with Fire Spin Overheat. Flareon with Fire Spin Overheat. Charizard with Fire Spin Blast Burn. All work well versus Registeel. Registeel is also weak to ground, so Mudshot, Earthquake, Groudon does well here as well. Just a lot of the counters that existed, there's a lot of counter overlap. So Groudon works well versus both, but he did not work well versus Regice, for instance. Kyogre works well versus just one, versus Regirock. Excuse me. I have this urge to yawn for some reason. Yeah, the counters are all pretty straightforward. I may go a little bit more in depth later. It really just depends on which one we get, or if Niantic throws us for a loop and we get a break from the Regi trio with something completely different. I don't know. There's that. There's Zapdos Day this weekend, and there's Eevee Community Day, which, interestingly enough, I have not talked about, although I think everyone else has because of the announcement. That runs for 2 days, August 11th and 12th. It's a Saturday and a Sunday, for 2 3-hour periods, one on the 11th and one on the 12th, during normal community day hours on both days. So for an example, it's the 11th and the 12th here. For our time zone, it'll be 2 to 5 p.m. on the 11th, and then again 2 to 5 p.m. on the 12th. From the way it's worded, it looks like Eevee alone will be getting the special move, and the only benefit that its evolutions get are going to be the shinies. If you want to be prepared for all, all 8 evolutions, there are currently 8. I believe there's overall the gens. There's Flareon, Jolteon, Vaporeon, of course, the original 3, Espeon, Umbreon, and then Leafeon, Glaceon, and Sylveon for Gen 6. So yeah, that's 8. I just had to go through them all. I was like, I think it's 8. So if you want to have a shiny Eevee for each evolution, plus the shiny Eevee just for itself, you'd need at least 9 shinies. We don't know if they're bringing back the naming trick or not, so you'll need to find at least 9 shiny Eevee to be able to get all the evolutions and 1 shiny Eevee. Just to stay normal, right? For this one, I think it really is just going to be looking for Eevee and the shiny, because it's probably going to be like Pikachu Day, where, evolving to Raichu didn't necessarily matter. What would change things up, however, would be if, they gave Eevee something like, let's say they gave Eevee Last Resort, which is a move that Eevee is known for having in the main games. It's not Eevee's signature move, but it's a cool move that Eevee is known for using in battle. So let's say they gave Eevee Last Resort as its community day move. We were discussing this, like, what would be cool then, like, to keep the evolution still engaging. Like, you'd want to evolve them, would be like if the evolutions for Eevee kept Last Resort upon evolving, so like you could have a Vaporeon with Last Resort. I'm not sure how that would work, though, for keeping the evolutions and like how it would impact their performance, because Last Resort would have to be really strong to be on par with the stab sets that the evolutions are known for having. Because Last Resort is a normal type move, so only Eevee gives Last Resort stab, and for all the ones it would be a non-stab move, and it would probably be, I would imagine it would be a 2-bar with like a reasonable base power, but it probably wouldn't, say, outdo Hydro Pump on Vaporeon or Overheat on Flareon. And it would mess up synergy for those evolutions as well. Because, well, that's what happens when you have off-type sets. In most situations, it just doesn't work. And Last Resort, as a normal type move, wouldn't specialize versus any typing, because normal isn't super effective against anything. Which is, it's just kind of unfortunate. But that was brought up. I think that's a minority opinion. I think the general consensus, like is the acceptance that Eevee alone will be getting the community day move. And I'm just going to say this as an aside, breaking off from that thought. It happened again, like that little glitch where, you toss the ball, and then what happens is it doesn't shake or crit, but like the ball glitches and you don't see any animation afterwards, so you have to stop and reload your game because you can't get out of the catch screen. But as you can see here, because the banner was over the gym, that means that I caught the Tyranitar, it ran away, right? And because I still had several balls left, that means I obviously caught it. I think I fast cache this Magikarp, and then I go into my box to confirm that it's there, sorting by recent. But yeah, you can see that this is from a while ago because the Tyranitar is named K40. You may have seen it for a brief instance. That's not its name anymore. I think that is Sojourner in my box now. But yeah, that's from way back for the Dortmund Safari. My shiny Roselia are the most recent ones in that box. This is actually a raid that got me an EX raid that I did last week. And this is the most recent raid, and this is the last one. But back to what I was talking before with the Eevee community day. I'm not sure how many shinies I want, because this one seems a little bit more like a Pikachu type community day. So really, I think what I want then would be enough shiny Eevee to get a shiny for each evolution, and then still have a stockpile of shinies for the later evolutions. And I'm not going to be too picky on IVs, because let's be honest, I can't ask for 8 good IV shinies, because like the last one is going to be just be an Eevee, so it won't matter what the IV is in the 9th one will be. But I can't ask for 8 good IV shinies, and my luck with having shinies with good IVs is always terrible. For my shiny legendaries, I think the best is 87%, and it's an Articuno. And I think overall my best IV shiny is 89%. And like, yeah, that's pretty good for a shiny, right? But the vast majority of my shinies are garbage IV-wise, and most of my community day shinies are terrible. So I'm not going to expect anything good IV-wise out of community day. I just want enough to be able to have the shiny variant for each evolution. And I'm going to be out there both days to make sure that I get enough evolutions to try and fail for that. Because I'm going to go out there with the assumption that we're not going to be able to use the name trick again. A lot of people are hoping we'll get to be able to use it again. I don't think so. We'll have to see. We need more details. We still have several weeks coming up. But that's it. I'll talk more about that community day as the information arises. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Hit that notification bell so you'll be aware of what's popping on the channel. And I will see you guys in the next one.